What's up, guys? Yes, my Christmas tree is still up. Hold on. Oops, my music is on. Oh, where is it? This is the thing. There it is. You know, when you turn on the music and you're like, shit, where is the tab? Where is the tab that the music is coming from? That's what just happened to me. See, that meme was created off of real life. Yes, my Christmas tree is up. Do not judge me. I fucking love my Christmas tree, and it'll probably be up until the end of January because I enjoy it. And quite honestly, my priority has not been taking it down because I like it. So there's that. Everyone's like, oh my God, your tree's still up. I'm like, fuck yeah, my tree's still up. Makes me real happy. Anyway, so while I was reading this morning, I had this like, I need to talk about this live stream moment, and I wrote it down so that I could come back to it because I had a bunch of other things to do first. But hey, if you're popping on, say hello, hello, hello. Thanks for being here. And the topic is that little voice of judgment that we have in our head. So something that I learned, probably over a year ago from my therapist was the first person who brought it to mind. But you know, we always have these conversations. Hey, Emily, we always hear things like, you know, the negative voice in your head and the self-doubt, and like people talk about, you know, shutting that down and turning it off or whatever. Hey, Jen. But what about the judge, right? We don't always talk specifically about that judge, that judgmental voice that lives inside your head. That tends to be kind of fucking loud, quite honestly. And one of the things that I was thinking about this morning is there's a few reasons why. And so I want to talk to you about how, like, you've got to stop feeding that judge that lives in your voice that questions what you're doing, or maybe thinks that you're doing it wrong, or you're not, oh, nope, who the fuck are you? You know, who do you think you are, is to say that or do that? Like that, any kind of judgment of yourself or comparison of yourself tends to come from that same voice. And so when you start to kind of distinguish that person, you guys know what I'm talking about? You guys know that voice, right? I'm assuming everybody knows it a little too well. When you start to like distinguish that voice, and you can name it. I have one of my mentors like names the negative voice. Like she's like, how, like different parts that she would play. I can't even remember the names that she would use, but she would do like funny names to them. But anyway, when you identify that particular voice that's basically judging the shit out of yourself, you can stop feeding it. You can definitely like catch it in the act, right? And choose to stop giving it food. Because if you think about it, just like anxiety or doubt or just different bad feelings, negative feelings, the more energy we put towards them, the bigger they're going to grow. But the other piece, like the tricky part, is you can't ignore it completely. Because if you ignore it completely and it keeps showing up, there's a reason that it's showing up. So you really want to identify what it is and take its power away, right? It's like my most favorite statement is like, take its power away. But in order for you to do that, you can't just avoid it and ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist. You have to look at that shit and say, hey, okay, this is a real thing. Like I legit have this thought. I'm legit judging the fuck out of myself, or causing X, Y, and Z to make me compare myself to whoever or whatever, or, you know, whatever. So, but you have to identify it. So it was funny because as I was thinking about this, a couple of like topics or like, hey Rob, what's up, friend? Where people will say, I think I'm missing some comments, by the way. Anyways, like be unfuckable with, right? That's something you hear a lot about. Or like, I give zero fucks. Like, I give zero fucks. It's like this very like puffed out my chest kind of thing, right? That says like, I claim to not give a fuck what anyone else has to say. I claim to be so strong into what I am and so tough and so big that judgment doesn't touch me. Okay, like that's a really cute story, but it touches everyone in one way or another. And so you have to really, really start to just be real with yourself about it. And then that's when you can choose to take its power away, which means you stop giving it fuel. You stop letting it puff up, this judge inside of you puff up so big that it's louder than everything else. It's louder than the truth, right? It's louder than the facts that you know to be true about yourself or the experience or the situation. And when you identify it that way too, you can start to recognize where it's coming from, or like, or shall I say like, where it's stopping you. right? There's a lot of times that we have every right and we have every piece of expertise or knowledge or desire or excitement to move forward with something and or talk about it or share it or do whatever. And we shut ourselves down because this judgment voice pops up. This judgment voice gets loud and it takes over and it's just big. And so when we can realize that that's something that's stopping us and we can start really saying, no, like you're not going to drive, just like fear. You guys have heard me told this story before about fear and how like fear will always exist, but you just have to choose not to let it drive, right? Like you say, nope, you sit in the back seat and keep your fucking mouth shut. You're not driving. You're not controlling the radio. Like you're not in control here. So similar situation that happens with the whole, judge that lives inside your head. So it's that self-judgment. It's not even the judgment of other people around you. That's what I want to be very clear about. Like 9 times out of 10, when you think everyone around you is judging you, they're usually not even fucking noticing what you're doing in most of those particular instances. Like we get hypersensitive to thinking that other people are constantly watching our every move and judging us off of it. And in some situations, don't get me wrong, that might really be the case, but like you will never know. They're not going to tell you most of the time. So taking the power away from that situation and realizing that it's more your self-judgment and that judgment voice in your head that you should focus on more, because you can actually control that. You can't control other people, and you'll never actually know what other people are doing or thinking about you anyways. So focusing your energy on this internal judge, deciding and like really differentiating who that is or that voice is, and being able to shut it down whenever it happens. So saying, nope, not today, sir. Like, I'm not feeding you. I'm not fueling you. And then making that commitment to stop judging yourself. I was reading a book this morning, and in that book, it mentioned like changing mindset habits, right? And how when you change mindset habits, it's a process. Like you don't just say it once or do it once and then it's done. Like you have to check in, and you may stop yourself from judging yourself literally like 100 times a day or more. Like that very well may be what happens, but stay committed to doing it, because the more you stay committed to it, the quieter that voice gets, the less predominant it becomes, and you really will start to feel different and start to see a difference there, but you have to stay committed to it. It's definitely a process. Hey, Daryl, God bless you too, friend. Thank you. Deborah, I'm glad to see you here. Anybody has any questions, as always, please feel free to comment them in here. Just a quick little tidbit. Like I said, I had this thought this morning about it and wanted to share. So if you think this video is helpful, please share it with someone who you believe could benefit from it as well. I always appreciate that. And give it a thumbs up, because I also appreciate that. Thank you guys for being here, and I will talk to you again very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.